All right. With that, it's time to rock and roll. I appreciate everybody attending the conference. The conference is being recorded, so you'll have access to be able to view the conference in the future as well. As soon as it gets through our video production department, they're going to fancy it up a little bit, remove any little bloopers. Actually, they don't ever remove any bloopers because they hear them all the time. But they do put a heading on the front of it, and they're going to drop that into our training channel. So you'll either be able to find this video on youtube.com/CIWebLive, youtube.com/CIWebLive, or you'll be able to check out the video on youtube.com/12-step roadmap. Again, that's youtube.com/12-step roadmap. If you're just joining us for the first time, this is our 12-step roadmap to Achieve Accelerated Results series. This is our video version. We also have a radio show. If you've not seen the radio show, that's where we interview other business owners, marketing professionals, and so forth about how to achieve accelerated results in your business and feature and highlight some of our attendees, our guests, as well as our customers and strategic partners, businesses, and what they've done to be able to accomplish this within their own business. You can see the radio show by going to www.achieveacceleratedresults.com. Again, that's www.achieveacceleratedresults.com. Again, if you're a first-time listener on the webinar, we appreciate having you, and you can view the webinar series in each step, in each one of the 12 steps, by going to 12steproadmap.com and clicking on the webinar link. And on the right-hand side, you'll see a series of different options, and you'll be able to get started there. So this has been a wild ride. For those of you that have been following, we're on a little jaunt across the country. Right now I'm sitting on my deck at our condo in Lincoln City, Oregon, looking at the beautiful shoreline. And to my left, I see about 100 sea lions and sea otters and seals that are sitting over on the bay in a little inlet right here. And to my right, I have beautiful sands and beaches, and there's people already lighting bonfires on the beach. So it's absolutely gorgeous here. We're making our way to Seattle, Washington, which we will be there today. And we spend our summers in Seattle, Washington. And someone just joined, so Kathy's going to get them muted. And if you want me to unmute so we can conversate, then no problem. Just raise your hand or send Kat a quick message on the right-hand side, and then she'll get you unmuted. So today, you guys, we're going to go through, some of you have already been through this process, but this will be a good refresher for you. I'll make sure anybody that's had a website built with us, that you still gain some valuable information out of your time with us today, and anybody who is possibly contemplating revamping, rebuilding, or modifying their website. I'm going to take you through the process beginning to end. We've got quite a group of new companies that are going through the website building process as we speak, as well as some new projects that are started. So I want to make sure that we've got a good digital recording that helps people prepare for this process, understand some of the complexities, and make this a much smoother journey as they go through it. We've talked a lot about social media search, the basics of digital marketing, or the basics of putting the framework of your marketing structure together, include web, search, social, mobile, video. And these are the basics. When I say web, I mean your website. When I say search, I mean SEO. Mobile, obviously, is mobile apps and mobile marketing. Video, that's pretty self-explanatory. And social, which is leveraging social media. And every one of those marketing assets is wrapped around one thing, which is your voice, which is communication, and that in a digital environment is content, either in an audio format, a video format, or a text format. So we're going to be taking you through that process as it relates to building a website, and we want you to be prepped and ready for your project so that you can make it, again, a smoother transition. So the first thing that you would need if you were going through a new website build is obviously to know what you want. And this really, for some companies, it's going to require some prioritization. There's a lot of different things that need to be done in a website building project, and depending on your budget, you're going to have to do a little bit of prioritizing. So let me just I'm going to go over these items again, and then we'll talk about the prioritization of them at the most basic level. When you're looking at a website, first thing is, what do you need? And you have the strategy element, so you want to make sure that you have a coach that is a business strategist, and a business strategist can help you format your business into a digital environment that is designed and properly built to be able to help you convert to new business. So that's first and foremost. As a business strategist, it's going to be more than just simply a marketing expert or a web designer or a graphics designer or a web developer. I often see individuals hire individuals, and unfortunately, when it comes to strategy, design, development, SEO, content, social media, video, mobile, and so forth, it really, really does not come in one body. I just talked to a woman this week who owns a design company, and she has been through 4 different designers and or developers, and now has a website that's full of spaghetti code, has multiple renditions, and while each one had good intent, the unfortunate part is if you have a designer doing design and they don't have a business strategist who is, or a project manager who's ensuring that they're designing based on what code requirements are, then we have an issue. And so you can wind up with the website no longer responsive and so forth. So there's a lot of issues that can come from that. And it's actually much, much more expensive to do this the wrong way than it is to do it the right way. Your expense comes from rework, redoing, lots of time, and then most importantly, not having the right platform in place. The missed opportunity costs far outweigh the expense or the investment to do it right. So I just want to throw that out there. Now, when you're prioritizing, these are the things you need to consider. You can outsource a lot of the project. You can outsource design, and in a design environment, you need to have a graphics designer or a team of graphics designers, which means there should be a creative manager and there should be graphics designers, graphic artists. And these guys work in Photoshop. They are highly skilled and highly talented at graphics design. They've got a keen eye for the look and feel of a website, and they should be the experts. They should be telling you what it should look like versus you having to tell them. Most of the time in our design briefs, we ask people to tell us websites that they like, but we have to really find out what do you like about them. And often, just simply from not being in the industry, the recommendations we get from the customer as far as what websites they really like are not necessarily what's best for them for multiple reasons. So the design team and the creative director need to be the ones that are really making sure that you've got everything in place. Next is development. This should be a developer. The developer should be able to work in multiple languages, MySQL, PHP, Java, and so forth. Next, you have content. Content is critical, right? This is your voice. This is your message. Content is going to be used in multiple areas on the site. It's going to be used in sliders. It's going to be used in call to actions, different elements, maybe on your home page. It's going to be used on individual pages as well as blog posts. This is where you really have got a budget. Either you're writing the content yourself. If you're a content writer, that's great. Then you can get some advice from an SEO engineer or a business strategist that knows SEO to help you frame that content so that the content works for you for search engines as well as for real people. So when you think about content writing for a website, it's very important. It's not just about getting your words across. It's about getting your words across and making sure that they're going to be properly indexed by Google, and when a human actually sees those, that they're going to take action and they're going to do something with that as well. So content can be something that you can have outsourced as well. Our content writing team is overseen by Tammy Kling, and they do all of our blog writing, our content writing. They do full website forensics as well as they do newsletters, and finally they do our authorship of our clients to also become authors or take their content and convert it into a book. The next element is search engine optimization, and this is an engineer. An SEO engineer is very different from a graphics designer or a developer. So an SEO engineer is going to, they're the ones that are constantly on the cutting edge with Google. What are the requirements? What are the changes that are coming down the pike? Search engine optimization is a finicky business. There are a lot of black hat SEO people out there that are doing things the wrong way. Really, when it boils down to it, search engine optimization is about knowing Google's requirements, understanding that you've got to have legitimate, powerful, continuous content being posted to your website on a regular basis that's properly formatted for Google, and then you have to have third-party endorsements of that content. So we take content from our client sites, we republish it, repurpose it on all of their social media sites. We also make sure that that content is respun and repurposed on different directory sites, different listing sites, and so forth. Some people refer to this as backlinking. Backlinking is a scary word. Yes, you need to build organic backlinks, which means your content needs to be powerful enough that someone's going to reference it on another website and point back to your site via a link with anchor text. That is the best way to earn content. Earn backlinks. Is you earn it because you have powerful, credible content, stuff that is worthy of someone else sharing on their website. Taking content, article spinning it, pushing it through different directory listings, that's another way that you can build backlinks. If you go to a website called Name, N-A-M-E, check, C-H-K.com, that'll give you just a quick listing. One, you can check your handles for your social media accounts, but also that's an area where you can see a lot of directory listings, and there's many, many more. Of course, search engines have directories and so forth. So that's another area that you can outsource, is getting your website listed from an SEO standpoint inside different directories where you own multiple handles across many different social media sites, as well as you have content listings, web listings, directory listings, business listings, and so forth inside other sites, such as Google Business Listing, Yahoo Business Listing, and so forth. All right, the next area is social media. When it comes to building a site, really you want to start your marketing plan at the same time you start your website, if you have the capabilities to do that. Your marketing plan is going to consist of various different phases, and you're going to wind up having a team that bounces around. Your project will go in and out of different teams. So while your website is in development, you want to be working on building a social network. That's going to consist of standardizing your design, look, and feel across all of your social networks. You want to make sure that no matter which site they're going to, that they have the same consistent look and feel of your site. So once your home page, which we're going to talk about in a minute, is designed, you're going to want to make sure that your home page has the same brand elements as all of your social media sites, so that it's very clean, clear, and consistent through each one of them. Next, you're going to want to be building your social, your network. And this is going to consist of leveraging other people's networks to build a fan base as quickly as possible, at least a fan and follower base. So depending on what kind of marketing plan you're in, it's going to depend on the level of aggressiveness that an agency will be able to assist you. For example, in our social media networks, we have over 250,000 fans and followers, and so we will leverage our social media networks in order to help build a client's social network as quickly as possible, because you really want to make sure that prior to that website launching, that your website is able to be promoted on a social network that has some equity behind it. It's got a little bit of clout. What you don't want to have is this high-powered, beautiful, gorgeous, professional website, and then they go to your Facebook account and you've got 7 followers or 35 followers or 140 followers. So, and same thing with the other social sites. So social media is the next area. You also want to start on a content plan. Your social media content plan, we've talked about this in other trainings, but it's going to consist of content that is motivational, educational, inspirational, engaging, and designed for conversions. Those are the 5 pieces of content that you're going to want to have being posted to your social sites on a frequent basis. Images, graphics, and videos, as well as in the future once your website launches, your blog posts and the content from your website will also go into that area as well. Now, in order to achieve accelerated results, we tend to automate as much as we can, and that way we only save the manual labor for the things that only you can do. In a social environment, the areas that only you can do is connecting with your network, your friends, your customers, your colleagues, your vendors, strategic partners, and so forth, and company interaction, so your corporate interaction with people that you know. There are a ton of things that we have the ability to automate simply because it doesn't necessarily need you. We don't necessarily need you to post educational or informational content or blog content and so forth. So the goal of achieving accelerated results really is supported by taking a list of what are all the things that only you can do, and what are the things that anyone else can do or that a subject matter expert. You always want to work in the area of the things that only you can do, and everything else, get it off your plate as quickly as possible, and that's the fastest way to grow. All right, so those are the primary activities that you need to decide on or prioritize. What do you need to get done? Depending on what kind of agency you work with, it may be very expensive to have each one of those done. If there's an agency that has all of those staff on salary, such as ours, we can keep our costs much lower, and you can get a lot more for your buck because our costs are fixed. We're not paying, outsourcing per project to be able to get things done, so you can really save a lot of money. So that might be something that you want to consider is looking for an agency that has all of those necessary resources on staff and on a salary, and that way they've got a little bit of flexibility as well. All right. So once you've made those decisions and you've got your investments all nailed down, the next thing you're going to do is get prepared for your design brief. Some things you need to come to your strategy and design brief meeting with is you need to make sure you have a link to all your social media accounts, logins and passwords for them. You also need to make sure that you have a login and password to your domain registrar. So your URL for www.yourwebsite.com belongs to a domain registrar that's maybe GoDaddy or Network Solutions and so forth. You need to have that login and password because they're going to need that once that site is getting prepped for Go Live. You also want to make sure that you've got a solid and sound place for email hosting. Typically, you want to have your email and your website on separate servers. That way, if something goes wrong with your website, your email doesn't go down, and you can still maintain your business while whatever kinks are happening with your website. Those are the basics that you need to bring with you. Everything else, you're going to have a strategist assist you in pulling together. So some of these items that you may discuss in your design brief are going to be as follows. First, you're going to talk about what are the elements you want in your header. The header is the very top area of a website. If we look at Barbara Gilbert's website, you're going to see on the left-hand side she has her logo. She has her tagline as well. On the right-hand side, she has very, very visibly a phone number. Call us. Search this website as well as links to our social media sites. She's got a very unique background. I love the fact she's got a slider behind her website that rotates actually behind her header area, which was a very creative move. And this was one where she actually gave the idea to our design team, which I loved. So go figure, the designer is the best person you can work with as far as the front-end design of a website. The next thing you're going to go through is going to be your main navigation. And that's going to be your pages and sub-pages that are going to show in your primary menu. Google doesn't want you to hide anything. So if you want something to be indexed by Google and not get any negative remarks, then you don't want to hide pages. Unless it's a password-protected page or you've got the page set for no follow, no index, which means you do not want Google to crawl and index that page. So the olden days of being able to create hidden pages, leave them up there and try and use them for SEO or for landing pages that are not in your primary navigation or are not listed in your sitemap. Can't do that anymore. All right, next area is going to be the sliders. As you'll see here, she chose to have a very, very clean background. Her primary business is interior design, so the main focal point of this particular slider is her work. Depending on what kind of business you're in, the sliders can be used for messages, call-out messages. What are the main things we want someone to see when they come there? So a strategist is going to help you break down how you use these sliders. And you got to remember, every piece of a website is real estate. Real estate. This is a saleable asset that should appreciate over time. It should become more powerful. So there are no details that are too small to talk about when it comes to using each element of a website. So, for example, on the sliders, let me give you some just kind of examples or things to consider. Sliders could be, let's take an HVAC company. One could say financing available as low as 0%. Another one could say take advantage of tax rebates with the installation of a brand new Mitsubishi ductless system. The other one could say boilers and oil delivery. Another one could say, it could be broken down and it could say trusted and certified installation techs, blah, 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 blah. Another one could break down residential versus commercial. Another one could break down different services. So it could say geothermal versus ductless versus heating versus cooling and so forth. So you really can break down your sliders and make them sales tools. They can be trust-building tools. They can be sales tools. They can be promotional items. You can put a call-to-action box inside a slider, so on hover, the slide stops and make it easy. I think on DFW Security's new design, we have one slide that says, every slide has a box on the left-hand side that says, we'll call you. And their goal is to make it as easy as possible for somebody to fill out a web form and get a call back. You don't want to make it difficult for your customers to be able to do business with you. All right, the next area is going to be directly under the slider, and we're going to get into this entire area until we get to the very bottom. It's called the body, and these are all the home page elements that are placed inside the body. Quite often when I go to a website, the first thing you see when you go to the home page is a big page full of text. Text is important. However, what's more important is giving somebody a home to reside to. It's giving your consumer, your home page should be the best sales tool that you have. They should have the ability to go to this website and instantly figure out if they're at the right place, if you have something specific for them, and if they should fill out a form or they should contact you right then. What we definitely don't want to do, is make people have to read. You don't want to do that. I know when you go to a website, you want to go there, you want to look at some pretty pictures. No, if you'll stay on the home page. When you go there, you're going to want to very, very quickly figure out, am I at the right place? But what we don't want to do is make them have to read a ton of content. So the use of pictures and the layout of your pages are critical in this area. So you can break down different elements. You may break down elements that are our services, and you may have 5 different or 4 different or 3 different containers, and each container has your services. It may be our specialties, or it may be just for you. So here we broke down the 4 main points she wanted to focus on. The first one was her services. Second was her furniture gallery. Next was her design, interior design work. And next was the fact that she's a Dewey color specialist. So we'll go ahead and scroll down. Now you'll notice we have a section that very, very clearly speaks to her target audience. So if you're a homeowner, click there. Architects and builders, click there. Realtors, business owners. So she has a commercial division. She has a residential division. And in addition to that, she has a special area for her 2 best referral sources, which are architects and builders as well as realtors. So you can very, very clearly, you want them to go right where they're. Now imagine if this was a chunk of text, and on that chunk of text it said, Barbara Gilbert works with provides multiple types of solutions. We can help with homeowners with interior design and business owners. If you want us to design your interior space, we also love working with architects. You know what I mean? I'm just giving you an example. Having a big paragraph versus having 4 images that are going to call people to be able to click on those is going to be much, much more effective. All right, next. For her site, we've got to view our portfolio. So here, now this is an SEO trick as well as, I shouldn't say trick because it's default. This is an SEO strategy. And this is also obviously because pictures sell. So here we've got each one of our primary areas, and each one of them is optimized. So bathrooms, kitchens, bedrooms, living areas, offices, and so forth, they can easily go through any of those designs. It gives us the ability to create content for each one of those pages, put in image galleries, optimize different images, and over time be able to really grow and optimize each of those areas. And then we've also got another area. This is more for images. All right, next we have another area, which is her video library. So Barbara does a lot of things with HGTV and House, as well as we're producing some professional video for her as well. So this gives her an area to be able to feature those videos, and the slider rotates through different videos. And then finally, now we're into the footer area. And she's got a pretty long footer, and we did that because we had a lot of things that we wanted to keep. A footer and a header and your navigation bar are the only 3 elements that are consistent through every page on a website. So again, we have another call to action. Download our ebook, Why Our Clients Love Us, which is our testimonials. And then if we scroll down under the Start Planning area, we wanted to create an area that we could really get into SEO for more specific things that she does. Now, this is another area where you have to prioritize. Your strategist should be helping you with the 60,000-foot view as well as the 5,000-foot view. So should you have the 60,000-foot view done before you have before you launch your website? My guess is for most of the mid-sized or small businesses, actually I should say small businesses and solopreneurs and startups, you guys probably are going to launch your website with 15% of what you need to be done, but you want to prep the site to be ready for that 100%. And so in this environment, we create a section, and the section can have additional bullet points that are added on. Each one of those individual pages can be added. You can hyperlink each one of those phrases to go to the right page, so now you can start optimizing at a deeper level. Now, for Barbara, the site is prepped to be able to handle 100 pages of optimization for around 30 different key phrases. However, that is a tremendous amount of content. That's a tremendous amount of content. So we wanted to really scale that back as well. All right, and then finally, I'm going to scroll down. So this is also where certifications and awards come to play. We wanted to create a scrolling bar at the bottom where each of the certifications, and then in the very footer, again, you want to make sure access to your social media site. Here we put in quick links just for you specialty space, again, with more areas for optimization, and some of our certifications at the bottom. So I'm showing you this one because I want to give you an example of a home page because this is the first thing that's got to be done. And these are some of the elements that we're going to talk about in the design brief. So your design brief is going to consist of your header area, your navigation, your sliders. We'll be talking about what your unique selling proposition is. Really the goal of a strategist is to get you to talk. So they're going to ask you questions. We also want to go over services and products. Whether you're a service-based company or a product-based company, the process is still the same. There just may be a little bit of additional work if there's e-commerce involved. Also, we want to talk about who your audience are, what your target markets are, where they are, what's important to them, who your top referral sources are or strategic partners. What kind of testimonials do you have? How are you leveraging video? Do you have video to leverage? Are you going to be using any galleries or portfolios, e-commerce? We really want to nail down what the call to actions are. So if it's get a quote, get a consultation, download an ebook, sign up for a newsletter, get a free estimate, compare price now. Do you have tax debt do you owe the IRS over $100,000, something like that? So those are your call to actions. Also, you'll want to be prepped with certifications, awards, want to have all of your images. When it comes to sharing images with your web company, what we don't want is a picture, a scanned-in magazine, a scanned-in newspaper, a scanned-in picture of your business card for your logo. We have to have high-quality original images, hopefully in a vector format or a PSD format or PNG, something that is we can use that's web-ready. I've literally had clients who started a project and they've mailed me an envelope with about 300 newspaper clippings and magazine clippings of all the pictures they want on their website, including a scanned copy of a business card, and that was their logo. So you want to have all of those prepped. Also, any licensing information, if you require licensing to be displayed, if you're an attorney or law firm, then we need to have that licensing information prepped and ready. Also, if you're doing any type of e-commerce or you're collecting people's information, you need to think about having your terms and conditions, privacy policy, and all your PCI compliance requirements met, which means you probably have an attorney or you got onto some legal docs website, or you can contact one of our attorneys and they'll help you get these things put in place as well. All right. This is essentially your home page, and that's all we're through so far, is just getting your home page designed. Again, it's the most important element there is to your website, and so we need to be very clear and concise on the layout and the professionalism of it. When it comes to your website, you have a consumer that's looking at your site and looking at other people's sites. And what we need them to do is when they get to your site, they instantly make a decision. You're the right fit for them. You're professional. You know what you're doing. Probably bigger than you look, or you look bigger online because of the professionalism of your site. And we need them to go with you. People are visual creatures. I made the mistake early on in my web business, and I'm still working through making sure that everything that we do is visually appealing and done professionally, because people make decisions. They can tell if something's been homegrown or you had an office administrator or someone in your office build your site. And so not only do we want to please Google, but we also have to please people, and we've got to make it clear, concise, and easy for them to do business with you. All right, so once your homepage is designed, the homepage is going to go to you in a link to a JPEG. You review it. You put in your change request. Now, it's very important that you get all of your change requests done on a design. When you're looking at a PSD file or a JPEG, that is a designer, a graphics designer, not a developer. So it's critical that when you're doing your review, that when you approve a design, so for example, for your home page, that's it, because once that design is approved, your home page is now going to go to the development team, and the development team is going to start coding. And once they start coding, it's very expensive and it's time-consuming to go back and do major design modifications. If you want to change text or you want to change out a picture, those things are all easy. But hardcore design changes, changing elements of a web page once it's in development, is much more difficult when you're in the building process. Most people that are just simply going to WordPress and installing a theme and they've got a ton of text on the home page, they don't have as much care and concern about the look and feel of your home page. When we design this, it's designed to convert. It's 100% designed to convert. So, all right, next thing. Once your home page is in development, now you have a different team that's developing your home page, and the next thing you're going to be doing is waiting for your interior pages. Now, let me give you some timelines just to give you some estimates, and this is going to vary by business, and it's also going to vary by the complexity of the business and our pipeline. For the home page design, that can take anywhere between 4 and 10 business days. 4 and 10 business days for the creative team to do the home page design. The homepage development is about the same time frame. So it can be 4 to 10 days as well, and these are business days. One of the things that we do in order to speed up production and accelerate our results is we have our design team work from midnight until 8 in the morning, and we have our development team work from 7 in the morning until around 6 at night. And that way there's some crossover in between them, but literally we can do a design brief today, and if we have the resources available, we can do a design brief right now and wake up in the morning and have your design, if that's the only project they're working on. All right, so home pages in development, they're coding. They've got their techno music playing, drinking some Red Bull, I'm sure, and are knocking that out. And next you're going to be working on interior page design again. They're looking at 4 to 10 days, depending on the complexity of your project, as well as our pipeline. Interior page layout is going to be essentially a post page, a blog preview, a sales page, which is a services page, and your contact us, for the most part. This is one of those things way up front. You want to decide how many pages you want to invest in custom design. Normally, what happens is we create a layout, and this is the basic. We create a layout for what a page looks like, which means you're going to have your fixed header, navigation, and footer, and then we're going to custom design a sidebar. And the sidebar is going to be a conversion sidebar, so there'll be a call to action on there, maybe links to your blog post, maybe download your newsletter or an ebook and so forth. So we'll help work with you on what that custom sidebar should look like. So you'll see on Barbara's, on the right-hand side, this is an interior page. Now, she has download our ebook, 10 Free Tips, Why Our Clients Love Us, which is our testimonials. BGI Wins Again. You can find me on our social sites. Now, on the left-hand side, this to me looks like a pretty standard page, other than she had us custom design the image of her. But this is a pretty basic page. So this is probably not a custom designed page. The template, which is the sidebar, is custom designed, but the interior of the page is just text on a page. So that's basic. That doesn't require a graphics designer to do it. Now, if you go to, do me a favor, go up here and go to dswsecurity.salessupply, or actually take that out, no W's. dswsecurity.salessupplychain.com. All right, let me see if we can pull this site up. I want to show you the difference between an interior page that is, it might be dfw.salessupplychain.com. I want to show you the difference between a page that is custom designed versus just a basic page. All right, here we go. So what I just showed you on Barbara, that's a basic, that's not it. A custom designed page probably has graphics. It has maybe a checklist, a comparative chart. So there's custom design work that can be done on an interior page. If you have a really, really important sales page, then you're going to want to have it custom designed. If you have just basic content you're going to be putting up on a page with maybe a picture or an image, hopefully a picture or an image, then you can get away with not having that custom design, and that may affect your pricing depending on what company you're with. The more custom interior page designs you have, the larger the investment with us, because our designers, our graphics designers, are actually the ones that are pre-creating each one of those pages, sending it to you for review, allowing you to go back and forth with changes, versus an administrative assistant that's going to your website, copying the content, pasting it, or transferring it over to a page, and that's the difference. All right. So interior pages, as they come in, you'll review them, put in changes, and approve them. And now we're getting into where we're going to start getting stuck without your participation. So while we're doing all of those initial areas, this is what's most important for you to be working on, or you to be working with Tammy on. This is content. Content. On your home page, you'll be scanning your home page, and my guess is you're going to see a bunch of text that says Lorem Ipsum. So in each one of these areas, in each one of these areas on your home page, that there is a call to action with a little bit of text. What the graphics designers are going to do is they're going to use just Italian font that says Lorem Ipsum, and we're going to be waiting for that content from you. So here where you see services and a little bit of text, furniture and a little bit of text. The easiest way to keep your project on target is to be providing that text as each page comes to you. So when your home page comes to you, your response should be, great, 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 I love everything, maybe make these couple changes, and here's the text for this, here's the text for this, here's the text for this, here's the text for this. And you want to work, when you're sending your changes back, you want to work from the top of the website down. And you want to use those areas. You want to put it, be as descriptive as possible. Header area, navigation, sliders, homepage elements, or footer. Your content. This is again where you want to prioritize a little bit. The great part about your website is if the website's built properly, it is so easy to add pages, pages in your drop-down, and so forth. So, for example, you may start with a page such as this one, services. Now, from an SEO standpoint, that's absolutely not where we're going to stay. So we're not going to stay on this. This is not good for SEO. What has to happen is each one of those pages has to be broken down into individual content pieces. So Tammy Kling is doing the content writing for Barbara, and for each one of these pages, she's going to have a custom sales page written and designed so that it's specifically set up to convert. The most important pages on your website for conversions and for SEO is going to be your home page for conversions, your service pages. Again, it's one page per service, and that's going to be for SEO. And then, of course, your blog content is going to be ongoing marketing, and that's critical for performance. So you want one page per service. For content for your site, you want your content to be at least, for an interior page, you want your content to be at least 300 words long. You want to have one focal point. So the word services, because that's the title, that's actually the focal point of this page. That's why it's not a good page. But if you were going to do a page and it was interior design, then your focal point is interior design. Your web page is going to have at least 300 words on it, and you're going to use the word interior design at least 3 to 5 times within that paragraph, or within that content. It should be 3 paragraphs, basically, 3 to 5 paragraphs. And you're going to want to use that focal word inside that content at least 3 to 5 times. If you guys already have a website up and you may not have gotten to this stage yet, this should be your priority. This is kind of a foundational thing that needs to happen on your website. You need to have one page per service on your entire site. So you've got to have those done, and they've got to be good. They've got to be good for Google. They've got to be good for people. So you've got to have real talent to be able to pull those pages together. Worst case scenario, if you have budget limitations, then get one done a month. Contact us and say, all right, I want this page done. And you might as well get it written and get it custom designed. Get it written, get it custom designed. Get it written, get it custom designed. So you can continue to add on. Just think of it like a house. You get the main house, you got the bottom floor done. You want to add a room, add a room. If you want us to add it for you, then you just do them one page at a time. So that'll allow you to invest slowly and be able to continue to build. Also, when you come out with new products and new services in the future, my recommendation is shoot us an email and say, hey, I need a page written. This is a new product we're launching. Avcor does this with us all the time. Avcor is one of our medical supply companies, and every time they launch a new bandage or a new medical supply solution, we write the content for them. We custom design a page for them, and they're building their website as their product line increases as well. Okay, so far you should have a home page developed, and you should be looking at a URL that's on a subdomain, so it might be yourwebsite.salessupplychain.com, for example. You are also reviewing or have approved your interior page layouts, and so those are going into development. and now our team is 100% stuck waiting for content. So what I want to get out of is the waiting for piece. If you can have those things done prior to getting your project started, either through our content writing team or yourself, then we have all of that content inside the system prior to going live. You just want to make sure everything is perfectly labeled. I do not want to acknowledge that the complexities of having 6 or 7 people all working on one project at the same time, the volume of communication back and forth, the pressure, the timelines, the speed at which everybody works, it's very complicated. So the more organized you can be, the better labeled you can be, the more you can submit things in one big message instead of multiple little tiny messages, the better the project will run. If you're constantly sending one-liners and they have to go find one-liners of information, that can take much longer. But if you send a very thorough thought, or you send 10 service pages all at the same time and each one of them is properly labeled and you say what they link to on the home page, that's going to help things go better as well. All right, so your interior pages are done. Your content is now done. Now we are doing some final things such as connecting up all your social media accounts. We're now doing the search engine optimization if you're on an SEO and marketing plan. We're creating APIs to connect your blog to all your social media accounts. So when you publish blog content, that automatically gets distributed out to your social accounts. And we're getting your site prepped and ready for go live. So let's talk about that. Now, based on the time frames I talked to, you could be either 30 days out right now, 60 days out, or 90 days. So if it's 4 to 10 days, just on our schedule for a basic 20-page custom design site top to bottom, that's probably 45 business days. Any delays, so if it's a delay for content, if it's a delay for decision making, if it's a delay for page review, if it's a delay for, or if it's changes. So if you say, well, I want it to do this, and then you say, no, I'd rather have it like this, and if you go back and forth and have a lot of changes of the mind, I should say, then those are things that are going to add on to that time, so it could delay it even further. With our corporate clients, one of the things to consider is if you're doing a project by committee, that also can be a big impact on your timeline, so you're not going to want to give an estimate of 45 days. The more people you have involved in the process, you can basically add 10 to 20 days, depending on each person that's involved. And this is just based on experience. If you have 7 people running a web project, you can add at least 70 days. So just something to consider. You primarily want to have one point person at your corporation that is responsible, and you need to put some guidelines and key performance indicators on the committee or the board or the project team that response times, so we call them service level expectations or response time requirements. So response time requirements for design reviews are next day. Response time for content requests are 2 days. Response time for graphics and image requests are 3 days, and so forth. So those are things that you want to set before you start the project in a larger company, so that everybody's on the same page, and so that you can pick a good project timeline and be able to set the appropriate milestones and deliverables and be able to meet that timeline as well. All right, out of the project management stuff, we're going to talk real quick about a prep for go live, and I want to make sure this is really clear after I have a sip of coffee. Okay, so prep for go live. From the day that you say yes, you approve everything, we have some work to do. So let me explain. When we're building a website, we build it in one browser. So we build it for Chrome. Every browser, Chrome, Firefox, Safari, Internet Explorer, IE 7, IE 8, IE, and so forth, each of the Internet Explorers, and I don't use Internet Explorer, so I don't even know what version it's on, but they have different requirements. They render code differently. For example, rounded corners in Firefox and Chrome do not display as rounded corners in Internet Explorer. Now, depending on when you're listening to that video, this might be old and outdated information that might have changed. However, each one of the browsers renders code differently. So what we have to do is once you've approved your website beginning to end, top to bottom, and this thing's ready for go live, the first thing we have to do is recreate your style sheets, do a cross-browser audit to make sure that all of the code renders properly in each one of the browsers. And this is a little time-consuming, but we have a quality assurance team that goes through, audits the site on all the different browsers. They all look like air control checks with all their screens everywhere, and they make sure that each one of those browsers renders your website properly. That's first. Second, we now are preparing your website for a responsive display. Responsive display is rebuilding your website with hundreds of different style sheet elements that are allowing your website to shape-shift itself and reconfigure itself based on the type and size of device that your website is being displayed on. So if your website is being pulled up on an iPhone or an Android Note or a 7-inch tablet or a 12-inch tablet or a 14-inch monitor or a 27-inch monitor or a 45-inch monitor or a widescreen, that your website will modify the look, the feel, and the shape, maintaining aspect ratio, which basically, if you looked at Barbara's site, if we were to grab her site from the corner and we were to drag that corner over, let me show you real quick. So I'm going to, okay. So let me change the view on here, and I want you guys to be able to see it. Okay, so if you go to Barbara's website, if you go to Barbara Gilbert Interiors, go back to Uber and see if it's still open. You might have lost your screen share because I just took Kathy. I just took the laptop from Kathy, and I think I closed everything. So anyway, if you grab her website and you shrink it down, you grab the lower right-hand corner and you shrink that over to the left-hand side, what you're going to see is it's going to shape-shift the entire web page from right to left, and it's going to reformat everything. It's going to shrink the sliders. It's going to move the call to actions underneath each other, but it's literally going to maintain the aspect ratio, or you can pull up a phone and you can pull up her site right on that as well. So designing a website for responsive design is typically between 3 and 4 days. It can take less time than that, but it's usually about 3 to 4 days of hard coding, depending on how many projects that they juggle as well. All right, Uber conference is coming back up. We'll pop them back in. So that's the other thing that's prep for Go Live. So first you have an audit that has to be done, checking all links and making sure there's no broken links on the site, making sure all the pages are properly pulling up. And then also, check the mute. And then also redesigning the website for each of the browsers. Next, redesigning the website for responsive. And then you are getting prepped for Go Live for email. So if you are hosting your email with another account, we need to set up the MX records and A records. So biggest thing to know, if you are hosting your own, if you have your own mail server for our larger companies, we're just going to need to know what those MX and A records are, and we'll go ahead and reroute that when we set up your name servers. If you are a small business, you probably are hosting your email with either Google Apps or you're hosting with FuseMail or GoDaddy or some other email application service, and so we'll just need to get that configured as well. Finally, it's time to get your name servers changed. When you change your name servers or your DNS records, you're going to be essentially pointing, and you don't have to do this. We'll do this for you if you want. If you have an IT guy, they're not going to want us to touch it. They'll want to do it themselves, and that's okay as well. For anybody else that's not technical, we'll take care of it. Your name servers are going to take your URL, and they're going to point it to our server. Now, hosting. Let me explain hosting and maintenance real quick. You have hosting services, which is essentially somebody gives you a parking garage and then you put your car in the garage and you close the door, and that's hosting. We have that, and I don't recommend it at all. But for 10 or 20 bucks, you can get away with a hosting account, and someone will host your website, and that's all that they do. Hosting and maintenance and support is very different. Typically, you're going to be investing around $100 a month, and that is going to include having someone that hosts your website. Now, for us, we have our own cloud-based server. We can scale unlimited up, and secondly, we also put our clients on what's called a CDN, which is a content distribution network. So if you're hosting your site and you're not on a CDN or a content distribution network, you definitely want to check on that. That is essentially your website being displayed and rendered through millions of different nodes that are in different areas. So when somebody requests your website, hopefully there's a node closed that pulls up your website. It's going to increase the speed in which your site loads. It's going to increase overall performance, which helps with SEO, plus it has one-stall installation of some of the applications that are necessary for marketing your website. So we use a company called Cloudflare. You can check them out, like clouds in the sky and a flare gun. And that's one of the tools that we use for all of our clients. I'm totally about to sneeze. Okay. Cloudflare is going to render your site better, as I mentioned. You want to check on that now. Hosting is just everything is hosted. You're not going to be on a CDN and so forth. If you do hosting, maintenance, security, and support, now you're in a different environment. Number one, your website requires updates on a regular basis. So you're going to be in a custom modified theme that was built based on Google and technology requirements today. The life cycle or lifespan of your website is about 18 to 24 months. In 18 to 24 months, and that's what it is right now. Life cycles of software are getting shorter and shorter and shorter as technology advances faster and faster and faster. What that means is the website that we built for you today is going to be top of the line based on today's requirements. However, 18 to 24 months from now, your website is going to be outdated. Something is going to change, and I don't know what it is because I can't predict it. So 18 to 24 months ago, they were still building websites using HTML5. 18 to 24 months before that, they were still using a plugin on a website that if you wanted to look at your website on a mobile device, you had a plugin, WP Mobile or something like that, that would take your website and it would show only the blog, and you wouldn't even get to see your website. Prior to that, they were building two different sites. They were building one website for PC, and then they built a whole different website for someone to pull it up on a mobile app, and you had to pay for two different sites. So what I can't tell you is what is coming. My developers would love to get on the phone with you and have some crazy chat, which would make you want to have probably a shot of tequila or something, because they have their ideas of all of these amazing things that are coming down the pipeline with Google and all the changes, and quite frankly, it's over my head. But the best thing you can remember is change is coming. It's inevitable. And what we build today is going to be outdated 18 to 24 months from now, and you need to replace it. The great part is the way we build websites, you only need to replace the cover. You don't have to replace the body and the shell and so forth. So we use MySQL as our primary database. That's where all your content is held. We don't have to do anything with that, but you need to re-engineer the front end, which is the presentation layer of your website, and that is going to be required. WordPress themes, when they're installed and they get old, the original developers stop working on them because they're old and outdated and they're not designed for current standards. And when they stop working on them and they stop doing updates, those sites become vulnerable to hacks and malware and viruses and so forth. And literally the viruses, there are websites you can go to, Millworm, RCI, where a hacker is going to say, for this theme on this version or this plugin on this particular version, here's a chunk of code that will demolish a website, or it will take it down, or it will use it for email spamming, or it will install a man-in-the-middle attack, or it will put a keylogger on your site, and so forth. So it is guaranteed at some point every single person is going to get a virus. You can do as much as you can to protect it. The best thing you can do to protect from viruses is to not let your website themes get older than 18 to 24 months. And right now, that's the time frame. I am telling you from a life cycle standpoint, again, that's going to change. It's going to get lower and lower. They lasted longer when technology didn't move as fast. But now, you want to make sure and get out of those themes and get into whatever is new and current. And you're going to have some hot new things. Everybody that's in a website that is older than 18 to 24 months right now, they're probably sitting in a site that's breaking frequently, that gets hacked on a regular basis, and it's going to cost more in virus removal and or replacing a website or having to rebuild a website than it would cost to get it done properly. So just remember, it's no different than a car. When that car hits 100,000 miles, the likelihood of it breaking down and you getting faced with, hey, do you want a new engine for $6,000 to $8,000? Or do you want to scrap the car, turn it in for a few $100 trade? It's the same thing with the website. It's identical. So very, very important. You want to be on a maintenance program throughout that 18 to 24 months. You're going to need to make sure that you have database compressions taking place on your MySQL database, that you have all of your plugins being upgraded and updated on a regular basis, and making sure there are no vulnerabilities inside those plugins. Also that your WordPress is being updated and your theme is being updated. And you can only update them, again, as long as those originators of those plugins and those themes are still making changes to theirs. Otherwise, the only things that are going to be updated forever, WordPress is upgrading on a regular basis, MySQL and your database is going to continue to have new versions come out, but the theme or the plugins that are used on your site, those may stop getting maintained or maintenance. So the benefit of using open source is that you get to use the top-of-the-line technology. You get millions of dollars of work inside your project when you're only investing in a small portion compared to what you get. The drawback is when that technology becomes outdated and no longer supported, it becomes a hunk of junk and you need to get rid of it. One of the other benefits of the maintenance program is that you have unlimited access to a ticket system. So if you get stuck or break something or you need help or you have a question or something's broke or not working, you've got full service support. And it's not at $75 for expert hands, which some other companies charge when you have an issue. On our hosting and maintenance program, if your website was ever infected so bad that it had to be replaced, as long as you're on that maintenance program, we take care of that as well. And most likely, we'll convince you to do an upgrade and give you a great deal on an upgrade as well to make sure that you get into a new platform and that you're positioned properly. But the biggest thing is, I know our clients would say is they have access to our tech and IT team, all our smart guys, on a regular basis, and they get help. And I think that our customer satisfaction rating for our tech support team is like 9 out of 10. It's incredible. The guys are extremely fast and very prompt. So now you have a website and you have a maintenance and hosting program. After that, of course, we're going to get into a marketing program. That'll be on next week. We will cover what do you need to do for performance. Just simply having a website is not going to get you anywhere other than if you work for your website, when people get there, you will absolutely close business off your site. I shouldn't even say that. Depending on what kind of business you're in, what kind of pricing is, how good a service you have, how good you are at returning calls, depending on all those areas, you have the highest likelihood of closing business from your website. I'll say that. There are people in the middle that can ruin it, which is a challenge. So that being said, I hope this is helpful. If you guys have questions, let's go ahead and open up the lines or the chat box if there's any questions. And if you guys have any thoughts or questions you want me to answer, I'll be happy to take care of those now. On the right-hand side, you'll see a chat box. If not, then we have done a thorough job. I either bored you to death or we were so thorough you don't have any questions. So fantastic. You guys, that's the process on a website. If you're already in a site, you should be working on phase 2, which is content prep and marketing. I want to thank everyone for joining us today. Next week we're going to be talking about phase 2, which is marketing. What do you do once that website goes live? And what are the things you can do? What are the things you can outsource and so forth? and how do you measure performance is what we'll be talking about on the session after that. So next week I'll be calling in from Seattle, Washington. I look forward to seeing all of you here again. Thank you so much. Again, you can check out our shows at 12steproadmap.com and go look at webinars or Achieve Accelerated Results. You can check out the radio shows if you're interested in being interviewed on our radio show. Please go to jenniferbagley.com. Go to jenniferbagley.com, and you can request to be a guest on our radio show. I would love to interview you and hear about how any of this has impacted your business and helped you accelerate your results. Those stories are great for other people and will help everyone progress at the same time. Again, I'm Jennifer Bagley with CIWebGroup.com. Thank you so much, and I look forward to seeing you next week. Enjoy.